Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome everybody. We are happy to have you at our second webinar. So we had the first one that was last year around this time, and so the second we're ever having. We trust God for a good time. We'll just wait for a few minutes to allow more people join in. I realize that a lot of people are having issues, maybe having to register before joining and all of that. So just give us a moment so that everyone comes in and then we can begin. But thank you so much for coming in. We trust very wonderful time.
It's just, I don't need to be in this position. Every time. It's rubbish. You're a little boy. You don't obey your parents.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we can begin now. Good evening, everybody again. My name is Mr. Inka, and I'll be the host for the webinar. Again, we trust God for a wonderful time, truly, and that it's free flow. We learn, we laugh, we gist. We trust God for a wonderful time. So quickly, because we hope for the entire program to run for about an hour, 30 minutes. We have a lot to discuss. As you would expect, there's a lot to unpack. So I'll start by just sharing a background information or a background on how the idea came about and basically what we are trying to achieve. And then also I'll do a quick introduction of the panelists. Mr. Akin, I think I made you a host, so if you can help me just admit anybody that comes in, right? Thank you, that would really help. Okay, so we've been running the hub for a while now, and we had, of course, because we're young, all the tutors are also young, so we always have conversations with our students, right? So we're always talking, going back and forth, and all of that, and so so for this webinar, we thought to just, well, the more we had conversation, the more we noticed that there was probably a gap between what teenagers were able to communicate to their parents, right, for obvious reasons. And so we then decided to do we gave out forms, so like a Google form where they could fill out responses, and then they filled out responses on what they are grateful for, like with regards to their parents, right? So that you can know what your teenagers are most grateful for, and then areas you think that could improve your relationship with them, and then also what they wish they could tell you that they probably haven't. So we actually don't know who filled what, but bearing in mind most of what is here was filled by our students, right? So one or the other could have been by your own child or what. But then also there were very interesting similarities, right? So it seems like what the teenagers are trying to communicate is actually a bit generic, and we have staff to support that. So we had about 40 responses, and so yeah, so we'll be discussing responses on what they are
Sorry, Mr. Inka, I think you're muted.
We work together at the school. I work closely with, that's a Midland school. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. So we worked together at the school, Midland School. So she was the best graduating student, very demure, very well behaved, amazing, 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 amazing young lady, right? And then later I got to find out that she's from my village. So she's from Ibarauke. So Ibarauke people, you know. Yeah, so that's Demilade. So she was BGS, she's extremely well behaved. And even so she came in, she's doing her GRE and got talking and we got, to discuss about the webinar and all of that. Then we also have Ayo. Ayo should be, maybe he will tell us his age, but I know he's a bit older than Demilade. He's currently in the US. Again, an amazingly well-behaved young man. Like, so he's one of those young guys that I just met and I'm like, how exactly did we, like, how were you made? You know, that kind of thing, like, like very balanced values on one side, very balanced work ethics, behavior. It's almost as if everything that happens to teenagers just flew over his head. Like and I'm hoping that when we discuss, we would be able to have conversation. And that's why in most of the messages that we sent out, we did say that it's very welcome if you're able to sit in with your children, right? That they could also hear the perspective from this ones. We also have Precious and we have Precious, but she's not yet in. And then we have Akachukwu. Akachukwu should be joining us shortly. Akachukwu was probably the first student I ever taught. No, not the first, but one of the first students I taught. He was in SS2 at the time. Very brilliant young man. He just finished from Canada. He finished with 2 degrees in 4 or 5 years. Engineering and computer science, which are 2 extremely difficult degrees. How he managed to finish with both of them in 5 years, it's a marvel. But he has always had that sense of direction from when he was young, right? He just knew what he wanted and all of that. So that's Akachukwu. Then we have 2 parents. We have Mr. Sheung Fadanwusi. So Mr. Sheung had 2 boys, and has 2 boys rather, Pelumi and Sheung, and they joined us at Paul Band. There was a way he handled the boys that was just exciting, bumper to bumper, no breathing space. But he still had, which is what a lot of children, even in the response seem to frown at, but he still had a way with them that, I don't know, it was just exciting to watch them, right? Pelumi was a high flyer, or is a high flyer. Sheung needed a bit of work. And the way he followed up Sheung was, in fact, like I said, bumper to bumper. There was nothing, and Sheung transformed. By the time he was writing his work, he was an excellent student, So they are both right now in Covenant University. I don't know if you mind me sharing, but his older child, and Pelumi, he's on the first class. I remember when I asked him the GPA, it was like, Mr. Inka, the GPA is not GPA. He was complaining. And then what was the GPA he was complaining about? 4.8. And I thought about my own GPA and that I used to manage to graduate from university. And I was like, let me not out myself. But he's an amazing young man. So Mr. Sherwin is also here with us. He has 2 boys. So for those of us that have boys, I'm sure we'll learn from his perspective. And then we have Mrs. Gomwok. Mrs. Gomwok has 4 children. In fact, at the point I had to start. I've adopted myself into the family now. So me too, I'm a Gomwok. So I go by Mr. Olayinka Tedmola Gomwok. Our children are, I don't know, I feel like they are probably like a standard for behavior. Wakabu was like my daughter. No, well, the age is not that far, but we worked together so well. She was BGS, valedictorian like Demilade from a high school, and you know, extremely well behaved, extremely well behaved, and all the other kids. So there are four of them, and it's mind boggling. I discuss it with my wife sometimes. Say, how do people just have all their children? No one is going to the left or to the right, that kind of thing. So yeah. So we have her also, and she'll be sharing also her own insights. I think the last thing I'll say about Mrs. Gunwork is that anytime I'm with my children and I catch her anywhere, usually in church, I make sure that she lays hands on them. Just put your hand on them, I don't know why, but I don't know what exactly, but just say something, and all of that. And that's how well behaved our kids are. And they're doing amazingly well. I still work with them, they're doing amazingly well. Yes, so those are the panelists, and just to let us know that we have amazing panelists, with us. So we'll jump right in now. And the way we roll is that one will display any of the responses. Any of the panelists can just unmute to speak. I might need to call one or the other depending on the response on the form, like the response we are discussing, And also, parents, we should be free to just drop our comments, on the link that will be shared shortly. Okay, so I'd love to have thumbs up sign. Maybe one or two just thumbs up sign or anything just in the chat. Just let me know we are good to go. Any message, just let me know we're good to go. Okay, that's one. Thank you. Okay, that's two. Thank you. All right. So we'll jump right into the first category, which is our young people just telling us stuff that they're grateful for. Any of I'll read out the comment, and then any of the panelists can speak. Okay. All right. So for this one, this particular person, she's 16 to 17. So what we have in the tiny banner at the bottom, 16 to 17, just is to give us an idea of their age. Because some of the responses actually make sense when you consider the age of the people that are giving those responses. And so this person says she's grateful for the fact that I think my parents try really hard to make me happy, and they actually love me for me and are okay with my choices. I'm excited when we can talk and laugh like we're just friends. I'm excited when we can talk and laugh like we're just friends. And so I would leave maybe Ayo, if Ayo wants to comment on that, on that particular point. And just share what you think about it, if there are experiences you could share on how it maybe helped your relationship with your parents and all of that.
Okay, thank you, Sanka. Yeah, I feel like that's a very good point. When you as a child, when you can tell that your parents put a lot of efforts, to getting you where you are and everything, it even makes you not take for granted the opportunity you've been given, because it's like not only do you want to do well for yourself, but you also now want to do well because of them. So yeah, it's a very good thing when even though there will be boundaries in the relationship, but when you still have a relationship with your children, that when I have a relationship with my parents, that I can just talk to them and just have a good relationship. It just makes me not take things for granted, and yeah, it also makes it more likely for me to go to them in difficult times, as an international student. So yeah, I think that's a very good point. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. I don't know if Dame Miladi is here. Dame, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, so I agree with yeah, so I also agree. I think engaging or talking with your child is like a good way to like get them to come back and talk to you. And not just about like serious things, just about like asking them what they think about something unserious, or like if they've seen a trendy thing online or something. Just getting like their opinions on general things can really create like a kind of like an easier path for them to come back and like talk to you about more serious things. So yeah, I also agree.
Okay. So is that the kind of relationship you guys have with your parents? Is it something like that, very well so or not so?
Yeah, I think well enough. Like we do talk about on serious things and like joke and stuff. So I think yeah, it's kind of like that.
Okay, okay. All right. Okay, yeah. So I think yeah, so the fact that she said or he or she said my parents try really hard to make me happy. And one of the things I think I would say about that particular point is that I've realized that sometimes young people don't quite understand the level of well, I mean, sometimes they do, or they can, or they can't picture it completely, right? Because they've never been thrown into that space before. So you'd find out that most parents just have the mindset of, oh, I'm breaking my back, working so hard, trying to do all of this and all of that. But then it doesn't register as making them happy. Or it doesn't register, it doesn't solve the problem of that relationship. So you can be doing all of that, and then you would find out that the much you are doing, right, and everything you're doing, it's what really matters to them is the things that really don't cost that much, right? Like in terms of money it's the little things that actually matter. So yes, not to neglect the big things, but also be very deliberate about the little things. All right. I think that's a good one. I don't know if anybody else on the panel has anything else to say about this, so we can run. Oh, okay, I'm not calling names, but okay. So I guess we can move on to the next one now. So yeah. So the next one says, our conversations sometimes, and the fact that they've accepted that I am growing up and their love. Parents accepting that their children are actually growing up. I don't know if maybe Mrs. Gomwalk or Mr. Shion can help us with this. So this is a child saying that I'm grateful that my parents is accepting the fact that I am growing up. So I'm grateful that my parents are noticing the transition that is happening. And whatever that now goes on to entail.
Okay, Mr. Inka. I think this is one thing that we as parents need to accept quite early. Because if you don't do that, you will always be in like a battleground with your kids. Now, I believe that for every child, there are stages in life. There are stages where you will scold them. There are stages where you will beat them. Then as they grow up, it becomes this thing of we're conversing with each other. You're telling me this is what you did, this is why what you did is wrong. Coming to like when my kids are playing up the I don't like to write on the wall. So as you see a bucket with the sponge and make almost something and clean it up before you leave. Then tomorrow now you know how to do that. And just now kids in primary school, you did something you them to let them what they now they're becoming like adults. And I feel that the mature.
Okay. Hello. I don't know if it was just me or if we all experience not hearing her properly. I don't know. Ayo or anybody, Mr. Akin, can anyone just confirm if we're able to hear?
No,
Yes,
it has been broken.
a bit choppy.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my
Okay.
network.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
should I
okay.
still continue?
Okay. And the beginning part was already carrying me somewhere, but yes. So yes, I think we should try again now.
Okay. So basically, what I was just trying to say is, the older they get, you have to identify they're getting responsible now, and the more you give them responsibility to do things, the quicker they once they feel that, oh, my mom thinks I can do this, and they do. So even if they do something wrong at that stage, you won't shout. at them. You will just correct them and let them know, oh, I know I give you this responsibility, but you should have done it this way. And another thing I did with my kids was I encouraged them to take up responsibility in school, even when other students are running away from responsibility. If a teacher sees something in you, he must have identified you either as a leader or something. So immediately a teacher is saying, oh, I want you to be the class rep. Don't shy away. Because I did that as a kid when I was in secondary school, and it didn't help me. I realized growing up that it didn't help me. So I insist on my kids, if they say you're going to be the captain of your football team, then you will take up that responsibility. I will assist you. If they say you're going to be in charge of this thing in the school, pick up that responsibility. I will assist you. I will drive you to the location. If you need help, we'll share thoughts on it. You understand? So it gives them that sense of joy, knowing that, oh, my mom thinks I can do this now. And when they do it and you give them a thumbs up, you know, it just makes them want to become better people as they grow.
Oh. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Quickly comment on this. I think, again, this just, you know, that if for those of us that are participating, now, anybody that came in on this call, I believe it's because maybe you want to pick up one thing or the other, or maybe you want to, I would advise that if it's possible that you have something to write with or somewhere to take notes on, right? Because like what she just said now is something I have seen. And what she said in 5 minutes, in maybe less than a minute, is something that, you know, it's like a daily routine, you know. So if it just goes without maybe, you know, a plan to implement, chances are it will just go like that, and it will just be something else that's, you know, that one hears, you know, because and then on what she said also, again, I am the first hand, I can testify to this reality, right? Interestingly, she's not one of those strict, like it's weird, or it was weird for me seeing how her children came up, and I'm genuinely learning now that she's commenting, right? Or she's talking about it freely. Like her son, who I'm working with closely right now, if you hear him talking to her, you will be so sure that he's talking to his girlfriend. Like, you would be so sure. And of course, there's that relationship, but then there's also the way she also works with him and encourages him to take responsibility. Every basketball game, she's there. You know, every day she's there, you know, just trying to, and she's always in their space. He sent me his recommendation letter. So this is the funny one. He sent me his recommendation letter to write for him. And anybody that knows Mr. Ika knows that if you send me something, if it's not the due date, then I mean, that one is, you know, or if it's not a few days. Anyway, long story short is that Oga just went to report me to his mom. And the mom just called me, and that recommendation letter came out. You understand that kind of thing? So she's always there. He knew that he could report me to his mom. And it wasn't a fight kind of thing. No. It was just, you know, jovial and all of that. But very freely, hey, mommy, you have to call Mr. Inka, or you started again, that kind of thing. And, you know, we all gisted about it, laughed about it, and then, you know, but she's that aware, that involved, that there. I really can't think of anything that I can say that I know to be going on with the kids, and I know the children a lot. Like I know other children, but there's very little I know to be going on with them that I would say the mom is not aware of. I remember once I spoke to Janina about, and this is the last time, her older daughter, about her phone, and I think it's either WhatsApp or Snapchat. I think it's Snapchat. I was like, oh, you're not on Snapchat, you know? And she said, oh, my mom doesn't want me to be on Snapchat, and she was okay with it. It was every other child that I know, if the parents put restrictions on you, they just go, you know, most of them, you know, just go on the other side, you know, and she was okay with it. And it's not really a testament to the child's well-behaved. I mean, she's well-behaved, right? But it's a testament to what has been done over time. All right. So accept that you are growing up, and then begin to release that responsibility, you know, bit by bit. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
I'm grateful for, thank you, ma'am. I'm grateful for the fact that they didn't pressure me to choose a typical career path, that they encouraged me in whatever I choose to do. I'm grateful that they didn't pressure me into choosing a typical career path, that they encouraged me in whatever I choose to do. So I would love Mr. Sheon to maybe weigh in on this, if that's fine. If it's Mr. Father.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Yes.
Yeah, good
So
evening,
thank
sir.
you. Good evening, everyone. So, well, am I the best qualified? Because I did engineering, my wife is a doctor, and Let me just in the house. Well, as a child, any toy we bought. I mean, my siblings would send expensive toys to them when we were in Oshogo. Shane will destroy everything. He wants to see the magnet making it move. He wants to see what is inside. Something will come to get to us will last 6 days, and Shane has destroyed it. And he tells you, I wanted to see what was making it work. So I didn't have to pray. It was obvious that this guy, my wife was like a bit disappointed that nobody chose the medical line. It was obvious that this guy was going to go for engineering. But I didn't pressurize them. I just gave them the ropes and saw where they were interested. I told them to go ahead. So I found that from experience, from my own experience in college. When kids do what they are not interested in, it's one of the red flags. It's a great hindrance. The best thing is let him or her do what he or she is interested in. Like I have a friend that the son was studying mechanical engineering in Landmark University. Entered for mechanical engineering, was on first class, and said, Daddy, I'm not interested in mechanical engineering. I want to do theoretical physics. One of my closest friends. Well, he finished theoretical physics. He's the first student in Landmark University to get a first class in theoretical physics. But that is what he wanted. Because that was what he wanted, he went after it. So it was like, this guy, engineering is better. But I just want theoretical physics. So he left engineering, I went to theoretical physics. And that's what he's pursuing. So it's good to let kids choose what they want. They have a push, a drive. Yes, we should help them, not them, give them advice, or let them make the final decision. It gives them a vision, a drive to go after it. I don't think I need to say more than that.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I would have wanted Akachuku to weigh in on this also, but maybe the next one because of time. Maybe the next one because of time. So this particular person is grateful that they encourage them. But sorry, before we move on, just something I thought about now is that what about situations where you know that this particular child has not shown you enough responsibility? Do you still trust them in making that decision? Again, just because I know for many parents who would probably not want to just say, oh, freely go on and do whatever you want to do, right? It's probably because, maybe this child is just being lazy, or maybe you feel like this child is not, trying to hit their maximum potential, or you feel like this child is probably just taking the path of least resistance. And we have children like that, or the child basically just fasts around, So I don't know if we can have a balance to that also, because sometimes do this, of course, with the best interest of the children, right? And if you feel like you can't trust their decision, then how then, or, I don't know if anybody has insights to share on that, Mrs. Gomwalk or Mr. Fadi.
Okay. Should I answer that?
Oh, yes, Shoma, please.
Okay. Yeah. My thought on this is I know every child is different, right? So like my kids, I usually typically say that my first daughter spoiled me. I say that because I mean I was following up on her and everything, but she'll get things done. She'll let me know if we discuss something with her today. Tomorrow she has done it, and so I kind of like also relax with her. So I now realize that with my son, I need to be on his toes. Okay, Nathan, we discussed this yesterday. What are you doing today? Have you done it? So every child is different. So even if you feel maybe a child is okay, is slow or is not coming up, children evolve. Just keep nurturing them in the right way. Children evolve. I've seen kids that were getting bad grades in secondary school. By the time they went for A levels, it was something else, So just to keep on guiding them, never put them down, never let them think that they're not worth anything. You understand? So always guide them in love. If they say this and you feel it's not the right path, then you now show them, okay, what about this other area? Are you interested in it? Because what I've also learned in the past is where your child's giftings are, most likely their career paths might tend to be along that area. And the world is so dynamic now. So it's not like ours that, oh, you must read accounting, oh, you must read this and that and that and that. Like my daughter loves music, she loves drama, she loves doing all these things. So because of that, I now said, okay, since you're a creative person, why don't you do your architecture and then take a minor in theater arts? Since, I mean, you like it and everything, so that she's not losing both ways. I'm not going to condemn her love for theater arts or for dancing or for doing drama. You know, it's okay to combine the two. Why don't you try it and let's do it and see how it goes? And she's doing it right now. So I'm just saying that no child is bad if the parent is ready to guide and nurture them in the right way. As they're saying their own, you show them another path and give them reasons, not just say, no, you must do this. You know, and whatever career you want to choose for them, let it be something based on your giftings, their giftings that you can see and you can identify. Is it good with numbers? Mm-hmm. Is it good with creativity? You understand? So the world is so dynamic now, because look at our world now. Is it not the entertainers and those on Instagram that are making the money? Not you that went and read law and did whatever. So have an open mind as a parent. Nurture them, guide them, and pray for them. That is very key.
Yes, ma'am.
Pray for them and let them start knowing God for themselves. Because what I usually do for my kids is I might tell them, okay, I like to pick Daniel. So because I believe that, okay, they were teenagers when they were captured and all these people, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So I can now tell them, okay, let us read Daniel, or let us read this book. And as you're reading the Bible, any topic or any verse that jumps up to you that you like, write it down and let's discuss it. You know? So when you're doing that, you're also engaging them from that angle, you know, and then also being there for their activities. I try to be at their soccer games. I try to be at their football games. I'm cheering them on, even if they lose. Okay, you did well, you've gained something, and things like that. So no child is really bad, you know, since they're under your care for now. Guide them, show them the path. Don't condemn them. Oh, you want to do this? Okay, that's not bad. That means you need to be good in so area. Are you good in these areas? Are you willing to pay the price to do this thing you're doing? And they will evolve. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, man. Yeah. Okay. So basically, if you feel like your child is not, you know, or you feel they need to enforce something because you don't trust their decisions yet, the goal or the response to that is to continue to guide them and continue to support them, right? I think if you do that for, really, that's the truth. If you do that for sufficiently enough, right, enough period of time, you would, without fail, see that transformation. Because if you don't have that right now, then we must tell ourselves the truth also, that it's probably coming from something that we didn't do, right, at some point. So thank you so much, ma'am. Let's quickly see the next one. Okay, so this one, when I saw this one, I just laughed because I was like, what am I grateful for? You know, and I'm so sure this is a girl, because it's somehow girls that eat their father's money. So this one did not have problem. This one was not looking for, you know, it's not communication, it's just say, my father spends money on me. You know, funny story I might tell a lot. When I had my son, my first child, I knew my life had changed forever. I held him in my hands and I knew that, well, I was not my own anymore. I didn't own myself. I didn't own my time anymore. I knew I always had to be present. I always had to be around. But the moment I had my second child, my daughter, and I carried my daughter in my hand, you know, my fragile, I just looked at her. And I don't know where this thought came from, you know, but the thought that came to my mind was different from that of my son. The thought that came to my mind was, Yinka, you have to make money. That, like, it just entered my mind that, Yinka, you know, you must, without fail. So for people who are wondering why Mr. Ika increased lesson fees, or Mr. Ika, just know that, you know, Mr. Ika has a daughter, you know, and all of that. But yeah, you know, I mean, and for this one say my dad spends money on me. Now, let me pause and say this, right? That whoever wrote this did not write this because her father paid her school fees. That's not what she noted. If I can almost vouch because they won't see that, right? It's probably just the little things that, okay, I know that, oh, my daddy actually spends money for me, but it's just a point to note. So it's a bit hilarious, but I mean, for someone here, there might be a takeaway, on that point. Okay. This person says, I'm grateful for the way they take care of the rest of my family and people in need, how humble they are, and how they are willing to do almost anything to fulfill the happiness of the children, right? And I would speak on this one very quickly because, the point of the fact that this particular teenager who is 16 to 17 is able to recognize that the parents are willing to do anything to fulfill the happiness of their children. Right? So your children see, right? The more they begin to inch towards that maturity level, right? They begin to see, and they begin to appreciate these things. One of the things I would say to teenagers also on this point is, please be deliberate about voicing your gratitude. A lot of teenagers don't voice their gratitude. They don't. A lot of them just move, just take life for granted. I remember there was this particular teenager I was coding. Sorry, just a lot. And what was my point? My point was that, guy, I don't think you understand that when your parents leave the house to drive you to lesson, they've already dropped you at school, picked you up and all of that. And they're now driving you to lesson back to pick you. Most teenagers don't actually understand that. But me right now as a new parent, I promise you, for every single time I have to go and drop my child in school, I had something better to do, or I'd rather slept, So every single thing is pinching me, So please just try to communicate the little things. And I think this will go a long way to even in improving your relationship with your parents, right? So whatever it is, write a thank you note on a random day. It doesn't have to be their birthday. It doesn't have to be Mother's Day, Father's Day. Just say, what, mommy, I notice, how much you do, or how this affects you, and all of that. And I'm grateful. So let's just try to communicate our thanks. Don't keep it in your mind. Any Thanksgiving you did not communicate, it's really equal to ingratitude, right? Okay. So the next one is, this person says, I'm grateful. Well, what I do appreciate most about my parents are the sacrifice they make, just make me comfortable. Not just that, also the way they show interest in what I do in school and also in the home. So this is quite similar, and I want us to run. So if I'll just move on to the next one. They are always there for me whenever I need them, and they always match my energy and either play and fool around with me. And they can come and feel sad with me, right? So again, it goes on to what Ms. Joker has said. And these are real responses from teenagers. Any of them could be from the child, right? And if you can judge in your heart and know that this is not something I probably do, that's what I'm saying. It's best to just write your thoughts down so that you can really go back and rethink it, right? And then now decide on how to flow with that thought. Okay. So this one says, I appreciate when she says nice things. So I think she's speaking about her mom, or he's speaking about his mom. When she says nice things and actually notices when I do something, right? I appreciate when she says nice things and actually notices when I do something. So maybe Akachuku or Demilade. If Akachuku is here, because I know he said he might be in and out. But if not, then maybe Demilade can just weigh in on this.
Yes, I can speak. Can everyone hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Inka. On this point, I think it's very critical, important to the development of children to just have appreciation and that care coming from parents, because obviously different kids are different children have different personalities, and they may not necessarily get that affection in other places. So as a parent, it's just crucial to realize that that is the primary source of their recognition, their understanding of how they are improving and doing things better than they used to in life. And at a certain age, you kind of expect to just get that feedback. Like, am I doing things right? Am I improving? Am I appreciated in the world? And it really just starts from the home. That's where you shape your identity, your self-image, your self-worth. It starts from the home, how you're treated, how people honor you, how people respect you, is then how you take it to the outside world, and you know, oh, my dad appreciates me, therefore I can't let just anyone step over me. You know what I mean? So I think it's really crucial in that development stage of a youth to just have that parental support, even if they act like they're hard, they're strong, they're, you know, they're over all their challenges and their problems. It's still so important, even if they don't show it. It really means the world to youth, to children growing up.
Wow, thank you so much, Akachukwu. Thank you so much. And I think he said everything. And I would just say I'm also guilty of this as a teacher. If one of my students had prepared him for a test, and he went pre-calculus test, and he got like a 92. And so he called me, the mom called me, to tell me about it, and she was so excited. And I heard the boy's voice on the background saying, don't mind that, Mr. Yega, he asked about the remaining 8%, and as he was saying it, sincerely, that was what was in my mouth to say, Ogawe, my remaining 8%. So it's almost like I don't say nice things. So, but recently I've started trying to shift ground, try to send messages randomly. Oh, well done. I see your effort. I know it's not easy. I affirm, the things you do, right? And all of that. And also actually noticing when you do something. For some parents, I don't know, I think maybe it's how some of us were brought up, right? That some of those communications were not regularly there. So and we still came out all right. So let me put it that way. So we didn't have that, but we came out all right. And so some of us are like, look, I'm paying your school fees, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, Again, I go back to the point that was discussed earlier. You might be surprised that what will actually make your child is not what the big things you're doing, the big sacrifices. It's some of these small things, that might end up, doing that. Yeah, and also I also love the point he made about the fact that he said something. Akachu said, if my father says nice things and affirms me, then when someone wants to step over me, I'll compare you to my father, right? Like, and it makes so much sense because, I mean, some of us are really well-to-do, big men and all of that. So imagine if you're the standard, you imagine the kind of self-esteem you would build in your child. Then when your child now goes out, he knows, or he or she knows what is expected of him, right? So, or the kind of honor or respect that he or she deserves, right? So, that's fantastic. So, and some of these things will not come naturally. So that's why I keep saying, put it down, to try to now begin to make those adjustments. Because if it would have come naturally, you would have probably been doing it already, right? It's not going to come naturally. So in the areas you feel like, okay, this has not been my strength, then that means that I need to put it down somewhere to ensure that I make adjustments. Akachukwu, your hand is up again, so let's just hear you. You can unmute, please. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I was just going to add to that too, that the noticing something part is also so crucial, because I think that takes a lot of intentionality to really be involved in their lives. Like you already said, paying school fees, making sure there's food on the table, that is a huge deal. But unfortunately, many children, they take that as the standard. They take that as the minimum, if you get what I mean. So it's like for you to reach above the bar, to be that best parent, it takes more of like being intentional to get in their lives, figure out what their interest is. Like, what do you do outside of school, outside of church, outside of your regular day-to-day? What do you do? What makes you happy? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? But unfortunately, it's like a lot of parents don't even know what to buy their children for their birthday because they don't know what they really like, if that makes sense. A lot of parents don't know, they're not able to help. Like we answered to the other question, they're not able to properly cater and guide and give advice towards their children's future career because they don't truly know the child. They aren't as invested in them as they could have been, if that makes sense. So I think just being intentional to really get to know the child, to really spend time, ask them questions outside of what happened at school, just one-on-one. I want to be your friend. What do you like? What makes you happy? All this type of stuff is really important to that child's development and building that relationship that will last also past the youth stage when they're living with you, but it'll still be a friendship even when they've left home and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I think this is the end of the what we picked for I'm grateful, but there's this one here which is just like, so for this one, I noticed that there was kind of like a flow from everything that the child, from what I'm grateful for to what I think we can improve on, to what I wish I could tell my parents, right? Which I feel like is where a lot of parents would feel like the real challenges are, right? So the child says, I'm grateful for the fact that they really understand me and they make sure that they are in every part or phase of my life. That's what this child is saying. So again, I'll read that again. They understand me. The child feels like my parents understand me, and then they are in every part or phase of my life. So this is a lot of the things we've been discussing and how it takes intentionality. Now, what I wish we can improve. Now, here's it. It says, there's absolutely nothing that they need to do differently, because everything they do has a purpose to why they do things, which actually improves my relationship with them as well. Now, when we read this as parents, some of us might be like, why would my child say this about me? Well, we probably should go back to the things that you're grateful for and probably not ask yourself questions in that direction. It's not a, I mean, I've never parented a teenager before. In fact, sometimes when I talk to teenagers and I hear Jesus, if I'm with my wife just starts, my wife starts shouting, Jesus, Jesus, because some of the things we hear scares us. And I'm not even kidding, right? It's like, for as an adult, things that, let me speak pidgin, things where me I never even reason to do for my life. You see children of 14, 15-year-olds, and they are very unassuming. And these parents have absolutely no idea, right? So, but the point is that they're saying there's absolutely nothing they need to do differently. And beyond even what the child is writing, right? There's the fact that the child trusts that I trust my parents' choices. So this is really heavy. I'm saying, even if I don't agree with it, they have shown me enough to allow me trust their choice. I am sub to them. Submission doesn't really matter when we both align on what the choice should be. Submission really comes into play when I have a different opinion from the person I'm submitted to. That's when we'll now know whether you submitted to me or not, or whether I'm submitted to you or not, when there's a disagreement. But this child is saying that, everything they do has a purpose. I trust that everything they do has a purpose. So even if I don't understand it, I accept it. And again, I believe it goes back to what I'm grateful for. Now, when you now go over to what the child is saying, or what I wish I could tell my parents, it says, well, I'm not sure. They know everything about me. They are my parents. Even if I try to hide it, they will find out. So, laughter, laughter, laughter. Yeah. And so again, just read the third point and read the first point, and you can see that there's a radical connection there, right? So to say is that basically I also feel like in parenting there's a bit of sowing and reaping. And I've told myself also, again, and I would need the grace of God as my children I'm not saying I know everything. In fact, that one, it's like I said, it scares me and my wife. But one thing I trust God for grace to do is not to leave any gap in their life. There should never be a time that the voice of an outsider is louder than mine. So I have to be there, across board. And I think that's the most, because many times, again, I was having a discussion whether it's social construct or if it's how men are wired, but most times that's a bit distant. We don't know how to communicate emotion. I would advise you to go and learn, because me too, I'm trying to learn. It's a lot easier now because my son is little. So because my son is little, I can tell him I love you. But maybe by the time he becomes like 9, 10, if I tell him I love you, he'll probably look at me like, again, I don't know. But the point I'm making is that as men, we need to learn to try to communicate emotions, because there is a lacuna, especially amongst boys. Well, in fact, both genders. So we just need to make sure that we are always there, we are always communicating. This case study is just brilliant, 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 brilliant. All right. So let's move on to the next one quickly so we can start the next point and then go all over. Okay, yeah. So we kind of tried to analyze what percentage, and the most important thing that children understand right now, or teenagers understand right now, and they are grateful for, is that many of them pointed out the fact that I know that my parents love me unconditionally. I know. And I think this is a major encouragement to parents, right? The biggest point for your teenagers is that, so on average, teenagers really understand and see that you love them. They might not understand every decision, but at least they understand that you love them, right? Some other people, about 25%, I believe, mentioned sacrifice and resilience. Some others mention, appreciate their understanding and presence. And then some others mention their encouragement and acceptance, But for the flow, it also means that the ones that are not, the fact that understanding and presence and encouragement and acceptance is low also means that quite a number of children probably are not getting that yet. That's why they didn't put it down. So these numbers that you see here, it's more like a testament to the fact that we need to do more in that direction. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. So your children are saying that I understand that they love me unconditionally and they are always going to support me in their own way, but I don't feel their understanding and presence as much as I should. Right? I don't feel their encouragement and acceptance as much as I should. All right. So that's it for the first group. Let's run over to the next one. So this one now is saying what I think we can improve on. Right. And I know we need to go faster. God will give us grace. This one says, I would just like them to take some time off for themselves. So this particular child is just saying, Daddy and Mommy, you guys should just enjoy your life too. Just enjoy your life, and all of that. This one says, and this another response also saying, I would want them to honestly take some time off and do something that they like. Probably this coming from children who feel like their parents have overstretched themselves in their direction, right? And I think I also came up that way when I was growing up. My mom and my dad did absolutely everything for us as children, like absolutely. I think my parents are on this call also. They did absolutely everything, they did everything that they could, right? And thinking about it now in retrospect, I think here, if I had an opportunity to respond, this probably be my point, say, Mom, what are you even doing for yourself? Because they really did nothing for themselves. I'm really grateful to them for all that they did for us, but your children are also saying, take some time out to just relax on your own, right? And also saying, I also like when we do things just me and my dad or me and my mom one-on-one. So me and my mom or me and my dad. So again, it's just a communication to say, watch a movie, do things you don't like, right? Do things you don't like, just to connect with them. So just me and you, all right? What do you want to do? Let's do it together. It's a sacrifice, but it's like the depositing stuff in the savings account, right? But the day you need it, you'll be able to withdraw from it. So this one says, this one was kind of funny, but it says, let them not be shouting all the time. So that's what this teenager says, Daddy and Mommy, let them not be shouting all the time, And that one says, communication. I feel like it's hard to tell them things because you're very, very verbally aggressive, right? So these children feel like their parents are this child feel like their parents are verbally aggressive, and the other one is saying, let them not just be shouting all the time. Shouting is just too much. I don't know if parents can stop shouting, because even me too, sometimes I've started, but I would love, for either Mr. Sheon or Mrs. Gomwalk to probably weigh in on this, on the whole shouting part. First of all, is it possible not to shout at all? Number one. And then number two, what advice would you give to parents who, are always communicating in that manner, or who their children feel like always communicating in that manner?
I think I should talk before Mrs. Gomwalk talks.
Right,
I had the shouting quality. Actually, my wife helped me there and said, cool down, you don't need to shout. You can talk to them. And so I normally now intentionally control myself. And she helped me a lot in that. And I always say, no, cool down. I said, I don't need to just talk, they will understand. So it's something I've noticed that I came from a shouting out. We used to shout, our house was loud. But our house was loud and we're all used to it. Sometimes when we are talking at home, my family, we think we are arguing and we are just talking, we are not fighting. So, but now, my wife didn't come from that timeline of home. So I had to step down intentionally and be cooler in the area and not just shout. But to say that it's impossible not to shout, I don't think it's possible not to shout too. We are just improving and getting better.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
You're having a bath.
Okay.
No.
Let me say something, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes,
I feel when you shout, right? I know it's difficult. So for me, when my kids, the shouting stops when you enter SS1. The shouting stops, and now we are conversing, because I feel when you shout and shout at these kids at that level, when they enter trouble, you will never know. They will try and solve it on their own first. The only time you might hear of it is when it has blown.
Yeah.
Because they just feel you're not listening to me. You're just shouting. You're not listening to me. So they will now be, okay, I've entered this problem or this jam. Let me try and solve it with outsiders first and everything. But if they feel, no matter what you tell them at a certain level, you're discussing it. Why did you do this? So how do you feel about doing this thing? And they will now be like, okay, no, I can tell my mom. I know she will be sad, but it's better because it's better they tell you as the parent. Then you now know what to do about it than for them to go outside because they feel you're not listening, you're just shouting. And at times when you shout, that thing they want to really say, they won't say it again. They will just stop. So you haven't even heard the words yet and you're already shouting. So you keep quiet, you swallow it. No matter how the pill is, you'll just be swallowing it and be listening and be smiling. Because if you don't do that and they realize that, look, anything you tell these people, they will shout, then gradually, some things they'll stop telling you. Because I spoke about this issue, she shouted, so I'm not going to bring this issue up ever again. And gradually, you lose control. And somebody else outside is giving them that advice. So no matter how it is, you swallow it, you listen to them fully. It's not going to be easy. You listen to them fully and you ask God for wisdom and grace to know how to answer them. And then you talk to them like adults that they are becoming. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I feel. I feel the shouting time, there's a period for it to stop. Then there's a period for you to converse with your kids as they get older. And when you do that, you get to hear their opinion too. Because their own environment is different from our environment when we grew up. Theirs is more hostile, I feel, in the sense that there are too many devices out there. So the more you keep them to your side and you're guiding them and you're talking to them, you're encouraging them, I think that's better.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ma. So two things. Let me just, because this is quite an important point. Just let me just, I'm not saying to just to recap. Mr. Sheon said that he had to adjust, right? So he had to take deliberate steps at adjusting in how he communicates with his children, right? And then so it took deliberate effort. Mrs. Gomwalk is also saying that another strategy that she employed is that there's a certain age from which I don't shout on you anymore. And sometimes, even though it's hard, I just swallow it. I think she said from SS1, that's when you enter high school or thereabout, which, because one of the things I've noticed is that all of the children who, and I genuinely admire, they don't really get shouted at. I don't know. And even when there's okay, maybe because I don't know, but they shall have, they've created, there's a kind of rapport, that those things don't even come up anymore, right? So yeah, it's a good one. Our kids are saying, let's not be shouting all the time, and let's not be verbally abusive. And we've gotten to responses. If that is how you grew up, it might not work in this time. You might need to begin to make adjustments, right? And then also, as parents, you should have, yes, if my child is going to put it down inside fire, of course I'll shout. But as he begins to grow up, it should become more of conversations. Okay, so next one. Next one is, so if they're listening, so I think we can improve if they're listening to what I was saying and not just hearing it. We can improve if they're listening and not just heard. So apparently our teenagers are teaching us that there's a difference between listening and hearing. Even me now, that the fact that you are hearing, the fact that you are hearing doesn't mean you are listening, apparently. So maybe, we'll have people weighing on that. Let me just read out the second one. I would like for my mom to listen more to what I have to say and let me express myself. When I'm trying to explain how I feel about something, and when I'm trying to explain how I feel about something, okay, and however you say it, so that means, I think she meant to say, or he meant to say, however I say it. However I say it, it is rude, or they just tell you to shut up. So apparently this student is saying that, or teenager is saying that, however I communicate, they just say it's rude, and then they tell me to shut up. So, but I would like for my mom to listen to it and let me express myself. And then I would like it if they're listening to what I'm saying without and not just heard. So Demilade, if you're there, I would like you to weigh in on this. And then maybe either of the parents can also weigh in on this. It's kind of similar to what they just discussed though. Dem, are you with us?
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think what the
Okay, yeah,
first,
so sorry. Is there a difference between listening and hearing?
yeah, I
And
was
if
going to
there
say
is, maybe you're okay, all right.
okay. So I think what they meant by listening and hearing is like there's a difference between like I can be telling you something and it sounds like you're hearing, or it seems like you're hearing, but you're not actually like you're not listening, meaning like you don't actually understand and you're not comprehending what I'm saying. So you're not like sympathizing with my own perspective. So I'm thinking that's what they meant, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I think it can be really, I guess, frustrating for a child that age to just for it to seem like no one really understands. Because like being a teenager, being like 16, 17, it can feel like no one understands you. You can feel so like what you're experiencing is so different from what everyone else has experienced, and especially your parents, like of all people, they can't really, resonate with that time. And you can say things like, oh, it's different. And but they always, I guess, like, because I'm not a parent, like I guess my dad, he always say, oh, it's not different, like but he actually like did quite a good job at listening. And like sometimes he also had to like calm down, like when like things, like he had to calm down and be like, okay, I understand what you're saying, like I hear you, but this is also what I have to say about this, and this is also my perspective, and I'm coming from a place of like care, and I want the best for you. And I feel like it's good for parents to make it clear that I really understand, like it's not just the situation that's happening, it's also happening to you. So like I understand that your feelings are involved, and it can be sad, or you can feel sad, or it can be like unpleasant and stuff. So I feel like yeah, it's good for kids to know that they are being understood, basically. So yeah. Mr. Enka.
Oh yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't know I was muted. Anybody else wants to weigh in on this? Mrs. Gomwalk or Mr. Shenwo? Okay. So let me also say something. I think I picked up something when she spoke, right? I think a lot of parents listen to respond, right? So maybe the communication is coming and you're hearing and you're already stuck up on exactly what you want to say. So it still goes back to that difference in, oh, I'm up there, you're down here, that kind of thing. We've not synergized yet to the point where there's any form of trust, right? There's any form of trust. And I think trust is actually key to a lot of the different things that, like, again, I go back to that girl who we did a case study on, right? She trusts her parents. For me, that's everything. So you like Demilade said, you need to actually make them understand that you are listening. And sometimes you even think you're listening, but you're not listening. Okay, I remember there was once that my first employment, my what's it called now? My principal or the owner of the school, then superintendent, amazing woman, amazing woman. She said something once when we were having a staff meet, a training or something like that, and she said, because she's also a pastor, so that once in a church they were having like a seminar or a meeting or something like that, chap. And the teenagers it was something like this. And one of the teenagers had said, or one of the people had said, oh, we need our parents to listen more. And her husband took the mic and went up the stage and started talking about how parents need to talk to their children more and talk to their children more and all of that. Do you know, she then said that she had to go and correct her husband on stage that they didn't say you should talk to us. They said, listen to us. They said, listen. There's a difference between talking and like, it's not about, do you know, with my teenagers, the way I actually know are broken, because I do a lot of counseling, Mr. Inka, all those, so I do that a lot. The way I know I actually have access to that student's heart is not by what I'm able to say or what I have said, it's by what that student says to me, right? So if that student is not trusting that I am listening enough or is not trusting enough to communicate back to me, then that means that everything I'm saying is, in fact, the whole point is pointless, right? So that listening is such an important thing. Your children will be made not but by also the fact that they know that you are hearing them, right? So again, I feel like some parents should just put this down, like, look, I need to make an effort, all right? Irrespective of how I feel. And again, like I said, if you go by the standards of how you grew up, a lot of your perspective are justified. If you grow by the perspective of what you went through to get to where you are, I get it. Well, I don't get it, but I get, but I get that most of the things that you feel you're convinced about, they're justified. But then it wouldn't really matter in the scope of your relationship with your child. You have to come into whatever they are right now. I think Mrs. Gomok wants to say something also on this before we run through.
Okay, yeah, quick one. What I just wanted to add was the fact that I think another thing about the listening and the hearing thing is they can tell you something today, this happened. I think as parents, the following day you should ask them, oh, that thing we spoke about, how far did you go? How did you go about it? This is what I was thinking. Oh, so by the time you ask them questions 2-3 days after inquiring, okay, so how did you solve the problem? Did you meet the teacher? They know that you were listening and you were hearing them at the same time. So I feel once they speak to you once and you now just dump it and go away, I don't think that's it. Inquire of them the following day and everything until that issue is either solved or you're able to give them a better perspective of what they should do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Again, so she said, make sure that you follow up. Let them, and I think that's a good one, to make them know that you actually listen. For some of us, it might not come naturally because you're probably chasing 700 million naira deal, and this guy is telling you that somebody shot the ball at him in the stomach and he didn't feel good about it. I get, but it is what it is, right? So do a follow-up. Thank you so much, ma'am. Again, I really hope that some of us are at least able to take note of some of these things that don't come naturally to us. Okay, let's quickly run and see if we can take a few more. We might have to skip a bit. So the person says, for my dad, so that means I think Mr. Shehu might need to speak on this. He says, for my dad, I would like for him to be closer to God and be more expressive of his feelings and love, mainly, and okay. For my dad, I would like for him to be closer to God and be more expressive of his feelings and love, mainly. And for my mom, I would like for her to be less helicopter-ish. Again, I honestly don't get what that means. Okay, she explained, sorry. Or he explained, like she should let me breathe sometimes. So, okay, I didn't know you were not breathing. So I think Mr. Shehu and Ms. Gombok, if you can just share maybe like 30 seconds.
I like him to be closer to God. Well, actually, one of the best examples a father can show his sons and even his daughters. Because people catch habits naturally. Kids just catch it. They see what you are doing every day. It's a routine. It's part of you. You put God first. It's something that they will catch on later. So it's very good. And then about expressing love. Anytime I call my kids, I also end the call with "I love you." So we'll try and say that, let them see it. It's not natural for men, but it has become natural with me now. I love you. We care about you. We keep saying it, and we get used to it. It's something after some time you get used to. Yes, I have just boys. I don't have girls, but I keep saying that to let them know, and they trust in that. They know that we care. Yeah, excited to come home. So that's it. And about being closer to God, that is one of the best things you can do for your kids. Let them know that you have a God you go to, and you are close and so dependent on Him. It does something to them. My son calls me like, we need to pray. We need a miracle now. Things like that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Mrs. Gomwok.
Okay, yeah. Spiritually speaking, the husband or the dad is the head of the home. He's like the cover. So I'm guessing the child is not seeing it. Although women tend to be more spiritual than men, but as the head, you cover everybody, and I'm thinking maybe he wants that type of relationship with his dad, right? So most men, it's difficult to also express themselves, and it also depends on the circumstances in which the men grew up. Like for my husband, he lost his dad at a very early age, at the age of 5. So for the kids, at times as they're walking up and down doing the thing, he will just stretch out his hand, and they know what that means. It means come and hug daddy for no reason at all and everything. And also expressing that, oh, I love you, oh, you did well, just affirming them. I think it just goes a long way. They will feel appreciated, and they will know that you care about every little thing that happens to them. You know, oh, they're having difficulty with this subject. Okay, come, let's pray together. You know, make confession with them, because my kids have a confession that they make from the time they leave the house till the time they get to the school. Just Bible verses that my husband put together. You know, I'm the head and not the tail, I'm above and not beneath, and so many things. So they make those confessions as they get to school. So it says a lot for a man to have that cover over his family, because I think it's very key. Thank you.
Yeah. What about the helicopter parenting? I think that one is actually the mom. Okay, yeah, she's speaking about her mom. Her mom she wants her mom to be less helicopter-ish. I just used AI to find out that helicopter parenting is, you know, like back to back, bumper to bumper, you know, that kind of thing.
But you can do bumper to bumper in a good way, you know.
Do you have any comments on that, ma?
Yeah, for every stage, you know, for the kids, I believe if you explain to them some certain things, they will understand. Like, first of all, I don't give my kids phone till they're like in SS1. That's when, and then before my son used to come and complain to me, Mommy, my friends are laughing at me. I'm the only one not on Snapchat. Then I used to tell him jokingly, tell them that, yeah, you have a wicked mommy that doesn't understand these things. But eventually with time, I felt he was ready. I said, okay, you can go on and have Snapchat now, you know, because I felt at that stage. So if they know and they understand why you're doing some certain things, there will be less argument and there will be more acceptance of, okay, this is what it is, you know. And at times you really need to follow these kids bumper to bumper, but in a good way, not in a hellish way, in a good way, bumper to bumper, finding out what are you doing next, what is happening. Oh, that party, did you go? Did you have fun? Who and who came for that birthday party? Know their friends by name and things like that, you know. So all those things will help, and they will know that, no, this woman is after my interest, and is not like hovering over me like a hawk or something, or a mother hen, you know. So that's my take.
All right. Well, thank you so much, ma. Thank you so much, ma. Let's see if I think during my mom, she's perfect, but she won't let me get my ears pierced. My dad, he should try and talk to me more. So I made the he should try in bold. So this child is actually saying, Daddy, just try, right? And again, it's normal with men, you know, not normal, but it's more common with men, you know, guy, let me just grind, get money and all of that. But this child is saying, let's try more. And again, you know, I don't know if you see the gravity of this, but these are communications of the teenagers by themselves. There is no question. I didn't give them points to say, oh, you know, right in this direction. No, right? Then this one is saying, I think considering my mom, she's perfect. Okay, brilliant. But she won't let me get my ears. So I think this is a lady. And I was right, is to say that there are many things that my parents, okay, for 17, you're still and all of that, you are absolutely under the authority. Whether or not you feel like it's okay or it's not okay, it's inconsequential, right? I mean, personally, I don't have an issue with ears for ladies, right? But again, it's like people telling me, oh, will your son keep afro? You know, my teenagers, you know, chide me about all of those things a lot, because I'm like, he won't do that. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, or will he braid? No, it was his braid is here. Like, of course he won't do that. Again, that's my prerogative. For many other people, there's nothing wrong with it. And I know there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm like, guy, you know. But then when you grow out of that stage, you will get to the point where you can make those choices for yourself. So it won't be forever, right? So I'm just appealing to you. And another thing I'll say is that many of the things that my parents restricted me from doing, by the time I grew up, I didn't want to do them anymore, right? So I kind of came of age and I was like, I beg, I beg, I beg, you know, that kind of thing. So it might not be the case for piercing for you, all right, but for many other things do, you know, you kind of understand things, you know, as you go along. So this one says, and I'll take this one. So personally, I just think I just need to come to understanding about them, about the actions they take for me. I need to stop fighting them. So this one is actually taking responsibility that the reason why the relationship is not working is me. And again, this is a teenager, and I'm speaking to teenagers that are on the call. All right, 100% of the issues with the relationship with parents is not tied to your parents. My own relationship with my parents improved when I made certain changes in my own life, right? So I mean, and it's the truth, you know, I made certain changes. I was between GS3 and SS3. You know, I started to make certain radical changes in my own life. That was after my siblings went to the university, right? If not before then, I was like a very interesting. Oh God, I was a very interesting child. But then my relationship with them, you know, in fact, by the time I was in university, 200, 300 level, I dare say that I could call my mom and say, Mommy, in today's Naira, I could say I needed 500K or 600K, and she would send it to me before asking what I needed it for, if she had it. Like, our relationship was that good. You know, I worked in a pharmacy, you know, I advised the fact, you know, I was like a business advisor, and it's because of changes I made to my own life, not because she actually changed. So it's also a good thing for you to just reason it and say, you know what, I need to also start making changes. What are my responsibilities in improving the relationship? Don't, if you keep frustrating them, they'll keep getting, you know, and then all of those things will, so begin to make changes. When you're wrong, apologize, you won't die, right? Tell mommy, I'm sorry about this. You know, after the, I know she will have you on top of the I'm sorry, yes, but you know you were wrong. Apologize, just show some level of maturity. It kind of would also calm them down and now cause you guys to meet somewhere in the middle, right? So sorry, I had to run through that. I want them to feel like friends, because I want to go to the next one. Understand younger generation, give me some personal space. We've spoken about that. I feel obliged to spend time with them 247 because of my parents. And if I say, so, you know, again, because of time, it's kind of similar. Okay, good. So I think we can improve. So on what the center was on communication. They're like, I need my parents to communicate more or communicate better, right? So this 40% of the responses, right? 30% is saying I need them to be more open-minded, to hear me, all right? To hear me without judging so that we can actually communicate. I say this again for many of the teenagers that God has blessed me to work with. They are living a different parents are aware of. Like this one, I can tell you, no. This one, I know, you know, and some of the things they tell me, I try to communicate with the parents, you know, and all of that, you know, but then it's not the same, right? Then their personal space and freedom, and then flexibility and patience. So this one is another case study, and then we'll take the last bit and then we're done. This one says, I'm grateful for, I appreciate when she says nice things and actually notices when I do something. All right. So when my mom says nice things to me my mom, and actually notices when I do something, then I would like for my mom to listen more to what I have to say and let me express myself. And then the final, what I wish I could tell is sometimes she makes me feel like she doesn't like me at all. All right. And so these are all, you know, kind of related, right? You know, so, you know, mommy, listen more, be there, allow me to say, allow me to speak, allow me to express myself, you know, and maybe for her, that's what she probably interprets as, you know, my mommy likes me, right? And I know the pressure can be a lot. And that's the part that I cannot speak without understanding that consequence that you're going through a lot. I was telling someone that some parents have jobs and they can't quit those jobs because of the implications of what it will mean to their children. And it's true. The decisions I could make before I had children, I can't make them anymore. We have to buy Cocoa Pops and, you know, all the other things, right? So, you know, and I get that. So to now come back and not now still, but you, like Ms. Gunwalk said, you have to swallow it and still communicate with them at that level, because that thing you are thinking they should understand, many of them don't actually have the capacity to understand it yet. And you would lose them because you have a different perspective from what they have, not necessarily because they are bad kids. All right. So sorry, I had to run through that. So for this last one now, what I wish I could tell you, we'll be speaking more about advising the teenagers now, my young adults, right, to actually win, and then so that we can wrap up quickly. This is saying, as much as I appreciate the decisions they make, I would rather make some for myself. You know, so maybe Ayo, what do you think about that? As much as I appreciate the decision they make, I would rather make some for myself. what do you think this person is, and how would you advise both this person and in this instance, their parents also? This person is 18 plus, by the way, so it could be 20, could be 21, Is Ayo here?
Oh, yes, Mr. Inka, I'm here. I want to.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ayo.
No problem. Well, to the parents of this person, I would say that the person is 18 plus, by God's grace, at this point, let's say you should have ideally you should have raised the person with a set of standards, principles, their relationship with God and everything, that you can trust them to make certain decisions for themselves. So if you notice that, because as we spoke about already earlier in the meeting, it's part of the children growing up. So if you notice that they're beginning to, and also you are also still involved, you're still seeing the decisions they are making, you're still testing them out. So it's not like, oh, you just let them make any decision and you just ignore the outcomes and everything, and you even can give them feedback on what you see, what the outcome of their decisions are. So you are still actively being involved as you are slowly taking your hands off the driving wheel per se, and letting them begin to make decisions for themselves, based on what you've already brought them up in, based on the principles and everything that you have taught them. And that's what I would say to the parents. And to the kid, or to the young adults, I would say that you also shouldn't like be too overly confident, in yourself. I feel like as young adults, we can think that we understand a lot, we think that we have things figured out, and we even take the wisdom that we get from our parents for granted. But yeah, in as much as you feel like you can make some decisions for yourself, even where you are right now is as a result of decisions your parents have made. So just don't get too overconfident, and still appreciate, the decisions that your parents make, and don't take it for granted. They have been where you have been, and at the end of the day, they want what's best for you more than you even want what's best for yourself. So yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Ayo. All right. So someone is saying, I wish I could tell you that I dated someone without their knowledge. So, has she gone to hide? Okay. Is Akachuku here? Or is there another here? Any of them? Just weighing on this briefly, because this is saying I dated someone. So I think I would want us to just speak a bit on the choice to date someone without knowledge of parents, just so that the young people can also hear. I don't know if I think they are both not here.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, okay.
so I don't know if it's like a guy or a girl, but I'll just speak as if it's a girl. Wait, who should I address? Like the kid or the parent?
Yeah, I think you should address the kid.
Okay. So yeah, there are obviously reasons why you felt like you couldn't tell both of either of your parents. I honestly yeah, this is a lot more complex because it has to do with like the parents and them. Like it's not just one party involved. But I just feel like you should I feel like you should try and tell them. Yeah, I feel like you should really try and tell them because even though like you may not like their response, it's honestly best that they know than they or that it's best that they know than they find out. If that makes sense. So I feel like you should try and let them know because I really can't say much because I don't know the worst that could happen. But like, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, David Ladi. Yeah, and I think I know why she's struggling with that a bit is because the main point of why you would date and not actually communicate with your parents is because, well, it's one of two things. It's either you know what you're doing is wrong, right? At least by the standards of your parents, right? And yeah, there's that. Or also, there's also the part that for whatever reason, the communication between you guys have not been so strong. It's possible, right? But the point I'll make is this, and speaking to both parties, what, like a covering over you when you want to make decisions like this is the knowledge of a parent. It's a covering over you that they know. So that spells out boundaries and limits. That's if they even allow you to. Right? There's a lot that can be said about dating and relationships. Personally, I don't subscribe to it at this age, 16 to 17. I don't subscribe to it, but I actually know someone, he's even a pastor's son, and he said, he said, that he had a girlfriend. And I was like, he has a girlfriend. So of course, in my typical fashion, this was very recently. I ran from upstairs, downstairs, shouting, "Hey, everybody!" Blah, 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 and all of that. I was like, and then when I came back to come my guy said, "Oh, that his mom knew." I was like, your mother knows, I was, But then when I now started I did speak to the mom about it, and the communication was, oh, of course, understands the limit of whatever, and she spoke to him about it. And well, whatever funds that I'm of a different, maybe an older school of thoughts. If your parents are, then it is not. But for that one, I feel like there are clear boundaries on what can and cannot happen in that space because, like the girl is even out of the. In fact, the mom said that because the girl relocated from Nigeria to Kenya or something, so that's why she even allowed it. And then helped the boy to buy a parting gift and all of that. And she shall want him that when he chops breakfast, she'll be there to help him cry, that kind of thing and all of that. And which I found, so there are different takes on it, but the main point I would make is that do not live your life if you have parents that are still alive, do not live your life and then now remove that covering that it should be, whether in terms of prayer or in terms of just being there to guide you or pursue you. And most of what, again, my opinion, most of what constitutes relationship, right? Last, at the end of the day, it doesn't end well, right? So that they even know and they're even going to be able to stop you from doing either acting on those emotions or doing something that hurts you in the long run. I have 15-year-olds that they say they have 3 exes, and I wonder when the first ex started and the second ex, and then how they are now, all of those things. So, but please, it's something that would strongly advise as young people, communicate, let them vex. And parents, if your child after this meeting says, mommy, there's this, just try to know how you handle it, and God will give you wisdom, I guess, and all of that. Okay, so let's go on. This one says, I wish I could tell them how much pressure I feel as the firstborn, especially with our family dynamic. Sometimes it feels like I'm carrying everyone's expectations and responsibilities. And while I want to be strong for them, it can get overwhelming. This person is 16 to 17. And I don't know if anybody wants to speak on this. I'm not a firstborn. I've never felt any pressure, so I really don't know. But if maybe either of the parents wants to speak on it, or um, the teenager, the young people on board.
Okay, I'd like to say something on this.
I think I'll love you first. Okay, yes, sir. Hello, sir. The floor is yours.
Okay, so I just want to speaking. So, well, I'd like to say this to the parent and to the child. Know that, yes, you are meant to set a good example, but know that the Bible says our sufficiency is of God. So don't ever put yourself under any pressure. And the parents have to affirm that. And the way to affirm that, let the guy know, the person, well, whoever, whether a boy or girl, let him or her know that she's good on her terms. She's good herself. Encourage her, affirm her, and I like to link them to God immediately. Let them know that whatever you want to achieve with hard work and with God on your side, you do it, but you are not the ultimate. You are not the all in all. You are not carrying the weight for anybody. So you have to drill that into them. Yes, do your best, be a good example. But yes, they are not fulfilling the expectations because I expect you to do it. I want you to just be the best that you can be. There's a thin line in that. We have to be very careful in that area. I turn them to God, let them know that they can cast their cares on Him, and God is the ultimate help for everybody. They are not the savior. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Inka, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry. So I was saying that can we comment on also what are some of the things that parents can do directly or indirectly or unknowingly that could be causing someone to feel this much pressure, right? So because I feel like there's no parent that will probably want to put, might be wrong, but would deliberately want to get their child in this zone. But it's probably maybe some things you say or some things that, that you probably portray, or maybe how you treat the first child. I don't know. Again, I've not had, all of that experience personally, but I don't know if either maybe Mr. Dukout or Mr. Shane wants to weigh in on, or even the teenagers wants to weigh in on some of the things that parents do that could probably cause that people to feel that way.
I guess one of the things that parents could do, like not even deliberately, is just constantly just reminding, like just constantly, like you're giving the child high expectations and everything, not just because you have expectations for him, like it's not
Yeah.
because.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah. So
Okay, welcome
there's
back.
there's that added pressure that comes with it, and then gradually, by the time your first child is born, you as parents, you're still young, you're still strong, By the time you're down to your third or fourth child, more responsibility in the office, and so many things. Maybe you can't come to the school again, you can't pick the kids again, and so you just believe that first child, what you've impacted on that first child, we do it without knowing. Now that first child should be able to now work on her younger ones, and then the first child will be thinking, if I did that thing like some years back, you would have given me some slaps, but this person is doing it now and you're just smiling, So I think as parents, we need to be very deliberate. I was the first girl. My daughter Wakabo too had that pressure kind of. And at a point, what I had to now do was break down the responsibilities. The only thing I will do for her was to give her more freedom. I told her, okay, you're supervising your younger ones. Make sure they do this, they do this. So it's not on her and her alone. Yeah, so we have to be very deliberate, because we just do it without knowing. So I think parents too should be able to put those responsibilities on the younger ones. Let the younger ones know that it's not this person's responsibility. It's all on you guys. Just that the older one will supervise it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So basically, if you leave it, if one does something, you not come and beat the firstborn because the lastborn did something, that, or beat or scold or stuff like that. Well, yeah, I get. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So please, let's just be, because for me, when I read some of these things, I actually felt bad. Because I mean, these are, like I said, they're like case studies, but they are actually people's lives, right? They're actually people's, young people's lives that we are discussing, and really, they could be anybody's, right? They really could be anybody. So let's quickly hurry. Okay, so this one says, I wish I could tell you that I don't really want to go to university. I want to be a YouTuber. Okay, Akachuku, this one has your name written all over it. I know you're not a YouTuber. I'm just saying that I would not mind if you could help us. If you're here.
Oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm in a bit of a noisy environment, but for this one, again, I think it's majorly the parent knowing about the child and like their interests, their strengths, and being able to advise them, on the best situation to go about that, because there's many different ways to success and making money in this generation of obviously more career paths. But at the same time, I think it's important for that child to be able to trust their parents' guidance, and just that balance of knowing what your interests are, but also being able to trust your parents' covering, knowing that they can see further than you from this point of life. Because there should be a balance between practicality and also passions, similar to I think Mrs. Gomez shared it, but her daughter
Yeah.
is able to be, she's able to study her passion aligned with a more practical and a more practical career option that opens up more doors. That way you have the access to go both ways depending on how you feel led in the future. So I think it's just a matter of just being open to doing both and just listening to whatever your parents would advise for you in that situation. I think it's important, but also for parents to listen and not just be bent on what they want for the child in that situation. That makes sense.
Yeah, very well so. Very well so. Thank you so much. One other thing I think I should add to this is that, look, let's be frank. Our parents want what's best for us, and we want them to listen and all. But like Mr. Gomwok said, and like Akachuka has also reiterated, you can do both. At least if you can show enough initiative, enough deliberateness that they will know that, okay, it's not because you just want to, you are just admiring. Do you get what I mean? So for instance, you want to be a YouTuber. If I would advise parents to probably let them begin to try things out now, so that by the time they come to the point where they have to make that decision, you would have been able to track and see, at least you would see some, what's it called now? Some trickles of what the reality could be. That could help to satiate the fears, and that could also help to, just continue to, allow you to encourage a child. So encourage your children's interest. YouTubers make a ton of, man, that's that, like, it's, I don't even know, maybe I'll go and buy a ring light too or something. I don't know, but like they make a ton of money, right? We are in the information age. We are exiting the information age, but at least, it's still, they're making so much money. Then I don't really want to go to university, big, because we don't have anything else attached to that. So, but again, the same advice goes, begin to build capacity in the thing that you want to do and let it be obvious. All right. Let it be obvious. Begin to put, show traction, because honestly, no parent would ever not see an option that is already tangible and then allow you to not go to university. I mean, if that conversation came to me, I will advise your parents that, no, when there's no viable alternative being that, okay, we can both track and see that, look, this guy is, in fact, if you carry the money for university and invest in this guy, is a done deal. Do you understand what I mean? So parents, encourage your children as they explore other things before the time that they have to make decisions as big as this, so that there can be something that can be tangible that you can use to have, to now make that decision. And then if you're able to go to university and combine both, there's also nothing wrong with that, right? You want to be a YouTuber. Why can't you be a YouTuber in university? I mean, like, what says that? I don't know how much art goes into, on the YouTube channel, but what says that you can't do both, at least for a while, right? And then now, before you go on to make your decision. So again, these are just ways around it, around that conversation. Thank you so much, Akachuku. Okay, Akachuku still wants to say something, so let's take that quickly.
Sorry,
okay.
there was something I forgot
1 second.
to say as well.
Okay, yeah.
Just kind of like what you were saying on the same kind of train of thought, but I find that a lot of the people who are actually like inspired and are doing what they are called to do, quote unquote, they had that blend of academic study, even though not necessarily what they really want to do, and also pursuing their hobbies, their interests on the side. That blend gives you the best kind of experience of going to school, meeting new friends, and it can also help shape and redirect what you initially thought your interests were, right?
Yeah.
Just following that process of study, you can truly figure out how to combine the best into the best option you have out there. So just to add to that is like there's no waste of education, even if you are truly called to be a YouTuber. You just studying engineering while building up your YouTube experience on the side. When you're done, you'll be a much better YouTuber because you have that creativity, that work ethic that you've built up from your studies. And then obviously you have that backup option to rely on, to fall back into.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so I just noticed that a parent's hand, I believe that's a parent's hand that is raised up. Please, just once we get to we are almost done, we'll just have like a brief session of Q&A and or comments and stuff, so we can also take that. But also to help, there's a link on if it's maybe like a question, there's a link on the chat that you can also just click to, drop it, so you don't forget or something. But once we are out of this, we'll be able to take that. Okay, so at times I feel like talking to them about all the gossip going around between my friends. Blame me for having such friends. It makes me feel uncomfortable telling them a lot of things as well. So it's kind of I think it's kind of similar to what Mrs. Gomok has kind of buttressed on. So just be in their space and ensure that you instill the right values with them, at the right time, right? So that you wouldn't have all of that. We just need to hurry. Okay, so I wish I could tell you, okay, let's say the fact that I face mental challenges, my true feelings about myself, like my insecurities, and how I'm feeling in school due to pressure. So I would want someone to speak a bit on maybe the mental, I think that means mental health challenges, right? Just, all of those feelings and all of that. Maybe just to advise the young people that are listening in. Yeah, so anybody can just go, any of the panelists can go, please.
Well, I would say about mental health challenges. I've handled some cases like that you speak up.
Yeah.
Don't ever feel it's your fault. Some people don't speak up, they feel that it's my fault, it's my weakness. No, speak up. There's no stigma about it. Tell your parents about it. You're in the best position to help you and help you now. I know people that have done well in life that actually had mental challenges and were actually medically taken care of. And you will never know. There also have to be big men in industries they work with for you, and they take their drugs and they do all that. So it's better you speak up and face it now, if it's about mental challenges. Because when we let those things deteriorate and linger, it goes beyond help. So once you feel something like that, even sometimes you might find out that you are just young, is your insecurity making you think you are meant to, but whatever it is, speak up. And parents, if a child talks about that, take it seriously. Don't just throw it, just roll it under the carpet. I know it's because you are insecure. No, listen intently. And if you need to get help, get help. There's no stigma about it. I will say that as the child,
thank you so much.
Speak up. We've handled cases that I still there's a few cases like that. Speak up immediately. And parents don't just throw it under the carpet. Get all the help you can get without embarrassment. Hello?
What if the parent feels like the parent is not a safe space? I don't feel safe speaking to my parents.
And then if you go to a church, I think your pastor or someone will be a safe place. Get someone that you feel safe, that is close, of course, someone very close to the parents. Like you, Yinka.
Okay.
Get someone very close to the parents that you need to feel.
Yeah.
If you tell this person, the person will be able to tell the parents and make them understand.
Probably be the Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So please make sure you don't, keep it, to yourself, right? And also, again, I repeat, these are real children. These are real children. So this one is saying about my true feelings about myself and my insecurities. I wish I could tell my parents, but I can't. Right. So this is a child saying I can't say that. Another is saying how I'm suffering in school due to pressure. So the pressure is killing me. I can't say that. I think it was it before yesterday? One of my students just sent me, she's in university now, just sent me, Mr. Yinka, can we talk now? I was so scared because I was like, what's this and all of that. So, and I picked the call and, she just started ranting about school. This lecturer is doing that, that lecturer is doing that. And, it was good that we spoke. Of course, she was able to vent, and then I was not able to kind of counsel her and stuff like that. Don't just allow things to linger, right? Like it's really, really important that you don't allow things to linger. And as parents also, you see, some of these things is because our children don't feel like we are available enough. All right. They don't feel like we are available enough. So, just again, question yourself and begin to ask in the sense, okay, what are the adjustments that I probably need to make, in my own parenting to ensure that, okay, my child can at least communicate how I feel. Yeah, I remember, I also want to say something about what Mrs. Gomwalk's daughter, her first daughter, there was a time when I was teaching her physics online. That was during COVID, and I think I was a bit too mean. Not I was a bit too mean. I was extremely well. I mean, we were joking, but I didn't know it was So for instance, I'll put class at 7:30, you know, and maybe it's 7. I feel like I shouldn't be outing myself, but it's like by 7 o'clock, of course, one couple has woken up, and then by that 7 o'clock, I'm probably still sleeping, you know. Well, you know, so I shall know that I didn't handle things the best. And also the platform she got signed up on was a terrible one. Her friend was using a better one, hers was terrible. So it was just, but I remember one day she told me that, you know what, Mr. Inka, she said, okay, said she went to speak to her dad and just said, Daddy, can you take me for a drive? And, you know, that was it. He just took her out. They just drove around town. Breeze just, you know, that COVID period, right? Breeze was just, you know, just drove around town. I don't know if they did anything else. But for me, it's like the boldness to feel like, man, I'm so stressed. Daddy, can you drive me? Just drive me out. Like, I don't know if you see, I don't know how many of us feel like our kids can, for something as little as, oh, I need some air, they would feel like they are not being wicked or being annoying, or you won't say that they are annoying by coming to ask you to just drive me, you know, if that makes sense, you know. So I'm just sharing this to say that that's the extent to which that we need to be available, right? Like I said, no other voice has license to be louder than ours. It's my domain, both spiritually and I also believe, you know, emotionally. My voice should be everything to make my voice be the loudest, because I know there are influences outside, but if those influences found their way in, it's probably because there are gaps that I have left. And it doesn't matter that I'm excellent, I'm an excellent pastor or I'm an excellent businessman, you know, we can also still improve. You know, you can be excellent in one direction and need to improve in another. So so this one again, this another one that really broke me. This one wishes that she could tell, or he could tell his or her dad about the fact that he or she was sexually assaulted. I mean, I wish I could have tracked to know who actually sent this. I really don't know, right? I really don't know. If I could, I probably would have to have seen, okay, because this is an actual real issue that needs attending. Hopefully it's not continuing. But then these are the realities of teenagers who are going through stuff and cannot communicate, right? And so that child has, you know, has been sexually assaulted, and maybe the culprit is even still in the space. Maybe the culprit is even still in the space and is walking free and nobody knows, right? And then the other one says, you know, I've been struggling with sexual sin a lot for the past couple of years and it's been hard to let go. So again, I'm asking, maybe anybody can just speak to this, you know, what should this person do? And I've spoken about to parents, again, make yourself available, you never can tell. Especially even those children that seem to be introverted, you never can tell. So please try to make yourself available. But if anybody wants to speak about this, we are at the end, so we can just, you know, see if we want to take comments. What should the teenager do who was sexually assaulted?
Yeah, I can speak on
because
it.
I don't think that situation has been. Yeah,
Can you hear
okay.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello, I can hear you.
Okay, can I say something about
Okay,
the
I don't know who
sexual
that
assault?
was. Okay, yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, I think as difficult as it may be, whoever the child is needs to tell her parents. So between her parents, she has to choose amongst her parents, is it the dad or the mom? Which one listens to her more often? Then is that person that she will use to break the ice, because she can't keep it within. It's too heavy, you know, and you will not know ways that child might never be themselves again. So they need to let it out. Wherever she is, she has to tell her parents. If she's if she's closer to the mom or the dad or an auntie, whoever she's closest to, she needs to let it out, and then let her begin counseling immediately.
Yeah.
Whether it's her fault, is not her fault, whatever the situation is, she needs to tell somebody that is in her family so that something can be done about it quickly. Because if not, she'll begin to disappear before you know it, and she'll begin to look at other devices to give her peace or happiness or whatever the case may be. So that's my take on that one.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, so please make sure you speak to someone immediately, right? One of your parents, either, and you know, and I would say this, right? I'm so sorry, but Oh, okay. Hello, ma'am. Yes, please.
Good evening, everyone. I also think for the child, for us parents, we have to be very strict with the people that come around our children. Most abused children are done from the house. Close people, uncles, aunties, family friends. A lot of us, we attack sentiments. Oh, I'm not demonizing men. My brother-in-law, I can't tell my husband no. You have to, when it comes to children, where they are earthly God, and we are going to give account of how we've nurtured them. We have to be very, very careful. A lot of things we allow our children to go through majorly is our fault because we don't know how to say no to certain things. There are some people that no matter how close they are to you, you cannot allow them around your children, whether it's going to cause family rancor or anything, because those children live with trauma for the rest of their life, and it messes up their lives, their mental health, their psyche, the way they see men, the way they view life, and all that. So, as parents, I want to implore us that we need to leave sentiment parts. When people tell you they want to come and stay NYC, and you have a daughter, and maybe that's your only child, or you don't have people around to guide you, tell them, no, I don't have space. Can you go and rent somewhere else? Because most children are abused by close people, close family friends, no strangers, majorly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. The other person says, I think this is the last one. So I've been struggling with sexual sin a lot for the past couple of years, and it's been hard to let go. I don't know if maybe Pastor Father wants to maybe speak on this. And again, this is what the child is saying. I wish I could tell my parents, and this child is maybe like 14, 15, thereabout. So I think we are done. Yeah. Is Mr. Pastor Sean available? Okay.
Yes, I am.
If it's not, then
I am.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So I wish I could let
Okay,
go.
sir.
I'm going to start from that it's been hard and hard to let go. If it's been hard to let it go, that means you need help. Even we talk, you are just 14 and 15, we talk to university students and we tell them, they send us messages. If it is hard, for it to be hard to let go, that it's beyond you now, you need help. So you have to take the courage, as Ms. Gon was said, look for which of the parents is more likely to listen. And if you feel neither will do, then I feel if you are in a good church, I feel your pastor or your youth church pastor or children's church, something, leader should be the next person in line. Look for someone close to you that your parents trust. Because there have been cases that they couldn't tell the parents, they couldn't speak up to the parents. It was people among us that the person trusted that they came to meet. Is that now person that will with wisdom and gradually pass it across to the parent and they start helping the kid. Well, you have to look for, that is why we parents have to have a safe harbor, a safe space around our kids. My kids know that if for what any other reason they can't talk to me or talk to their mom, which their mom is so free, most likely they can tell her anything, maybe better than myself. Or there's something like if they know that there are some people that they know if they go to, and this person is the one that talks to daddy will listen. You understand?
Yeah. Okay.
They know there are people in my life, they know. I have friends from university that they know that if I open up to this man, daddy will listen. Daddy will just listen. So we have to let them have that safe harbor. So I have some trusted friends, people that I can trust with my life, that have maybe just one or two. And my kids too know that these guys, they are it for me. Yes, they themselves know that these guys are it for me. So these are the things we have to create that safe space. Their own kids have come to my house and spent holiday. So there are people that you must know that they know. Of course, the parents are your first point of call. But if once you can't let it go, it means you need help, teenager or little child, you need to get help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so come to the end. So basically, hidden emotions and struggles is like 40% of what the response we got. That's the highest one. Desire for understanding is 30. Generational gaps, and then trust and acceptance is 10. But the main one is hidden emotions and struggle. So basically most of the children are struggling with things that they haven't been able to communicate, properly. Okay, so maybe any questions now? If we can just do like 5 minutes because we actually spent more time now. I had thought we would on this, but there's one question here, just one question on the link. It says, I think this was initially when we started. It says, by responsibility, do you mean chores? I think it means when Mrs. Gomwalk, I think this is for you. When you spoke about the fact that you give your children responsibility. So do you mean chores? Because this person is saying, I try to give them some chores with stipends attached at the end of the month, but my son won't take it seriously. So I think it's speaking about the fact that you said that your son's responsibility and all of that. So if you could just shed more light on that and see if you can help this person better understand what you said.
Okay. For me, there's no stipends anywhere. You're staying in my house, you're living here, you have to do your bid. So for me, you start early enough, when you come back from school, put your shoes away, remove your socks, fold your underwear in a certain way, arrange it inside the cupboard. If the clothes are ironed, everybody should go pick up their iron clothes, go and put it in the drawer and things like that. So it now graduates, you understand? From there it graduates to, okay, simple tasks. Boys, it's time for you guys to throw out the trash outside. They throw the trash outside. Okay, girls, you're in the kitchen, you're cooking, you're doing you start gradually. It will be difficult for them if you just dump it on them just one day. Okay, you're doing this role. So if you start graduating it small, you're giving them responsibilities. Yeah, you can give them stipends. It's good because maybe so as they grow older too, they have the responsibility of, if you work, you have money, you can save your money and do other things. That's also another good aspect. But you now give them, graduate it, they now have bigger responsibilities. You look after your room, you sweep your room, you clean your room. And I used to let my kids, now that they're even much older, nobody's going to enter your room and clean it up for you. How you leave it, you will lie on it. So I think it should be a gradual thing, a step-by-step thing, and gradually on their own, they will do it. You might not even need to tell them, they will just get up and do it. And then let them not also feel that, for me to do this chore, mommy must or daddy must do this chore. No, let it just be that, I just love you and I'm giving you this. Let it not really be attached to any chore in the house. That's what I feel. That's just my take.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. So I think that's the only question that we have on this. But if anybody has any questions on that, so that anybody can address it, we can. The floor is open now, so we can maybe take one or two before we close out. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oladipo Tedimola. Okay, that's my other brother. Yeah, you can unmute and speak, sir.
Okay.
Hello.
Thank you very much for this. Thank you very much for this section. It's actually quite insightful. At least we got that maybe we would not have been able to hear the teenagers say. Okay. Hope I can give a contribution. It's not a question.
Sure, that's fine.
So I do a lot of listening on the internet to bringing up children, right? And one thing I've grabbed is getting teenagers to talk. And getting teenagers to talk has a lot to do with how we listen to them. And one popular person I follow on Instagram, she said something. She said the basics are what they learn as children, take them up to being teenagers. You can't train a teenager the way you train a child, or you can't give instructions to a teenager the way you give instructions to a child. when they become teenagers, it's going to be easier. And for teenagers, it's all about being a leader. If you put yourself in a position where you lead, where you're able to lead a teenager, right? The teenager would be able to speak up and the teenager will be able to say everything. Now, when a teenager sees you as a leader is when a teenager sees you doing things right. If you compromise, if teenagers see you compromise, they're already wise, they're no longer children at this point. If they see you compromise one or two ways, right, they would feel like you're not a leader, and they could do whatever they want. After all, they see you compromise. Then listening to teenagers, if teenagers speak to you, right, give advice if they ask for an advice, because most times they already know what they want to do. So if they feel like every time they come to meet you, to talk to you, right, to gist with you, it becomes you see it as a teachable section, a section where you're going to tell them what they are doing right and what they are doing wrong. The next time, they are not going to come and talk to you. They are going to feel like, oh, they're just going to have that feeling like, if I go and talk to him now, he start lecturing me, you know, that kind of thing. So when they come, it's good to listen to them. If they need an advice, they would seek an advice. Now, at that point, the way you could point them out in the right direction is to give them an example of when you were in such a situation and how you handled it. So whatever they come to tell you about, right? You're not.
Thank you so much, everyone. My sincere thanks to everyone. Akachiko, I know you had to really just pop out of work to address me, or to join on the call. Dame, I'm really grateful. Ayo, I'm really grateful. Mrs. Gomwalk, God bless you so much. Pastor Shion, we are all really grateful as a community. Thank you so much. And we trust that it has been an impactful session for everyone. So on this note, we'll end and hopefully see you again at the next webinar series, which should be around this time, 2025. Thank you so much and have a lovely night.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Inka.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Yinka.
Thank you so much. Thank you.